so on.
Perfect. Yeah, I can do that. I think that was the right version.
Activate.
That I can provide. I don't need it anymore.
Yeah, just paste that in the chat or whatever, and you have to go into the thing and upload the license, right? Check it back in or whatever.
Mm.
So today we have some slide YouTube guide us about Pinion meeting tomorrow.
Yeah, you're gonna have to put something together, right? To present to them.
Mm.
So in the mean,
Can I share the screen for
well,
the opinion?
before we do that, I got another project that we need. So I'm
Oh,
gonna
okay.
paste a link in the chat. So once we get an IP license for our new intern,
Mhm.
I've got a folder here that I have some stuff in. There's a spreadsheet. It's called a copy of Tide Wells. Essentially, it's the stuff that we talked about before. So this stuff that Jorge needs done. We've got these wells. I'll put a screenshot in here. The green wells that are highlighted green are ones that we don't have logs for. Okay, so what I've done is I've copied the wells that we do have logs for into a new IP database,
Mhm.
which I will copy the link for, which is also just called Flying Dutchman. But there's the, the second link is the IP database. The first link is the folder. In the folder, I also have the last files. I'm downloading them now. So they're not done yet. And it's taking forever because it's like 2 of the files are 500 megabytes. Why that is, I have no idea. But, you know, it's downloading them. They'll be going in there. They'll be done soon. So we'll need to load those wells also, and then the existing wells in the database. And then we just need to go through and depth shift and edit and clean up those wells. So you can decide how you want to do that.
Okay.
You can split it, and Tube can help with that as well, right? To start cutting his teeth on depth shifting and loading data, and understanding how IP works. So, if you can help him get set up, we'll need to get him pointed to the appropriate user programs folder inside of IP and get IP updated to the right version. I think maybe the version on the laptop is a bit old because it hasn't been used in a while. I think we're on 2025 now, so do not upgrade to 2026, but whatever the most recent version of 2025 is will be what we want to do. And IP, when you start it, should automatically, like, you could do a check the upgrade for the most recent version, and then it'll tell you. So I guess, just let's, let me, how can I do this? Hmm. Isn't there like, yeah, here you go. We'll do a whiteboard type of thing really quick. I don't know what this all crap was that some insane guy was talking about. Clear canvas. So I'll just make a list here. So project 1 is going to be the ML project, right? Not
Yep.
finished. So this is how doesn't let you. This is stupid. Who designed this? Microsoft, come on. And then it makes it so you can't, all right. Anyway, so not finished. So boy, this is just about useless, isn't it? Hold on. Let me do this instead. How to stop? How do you stop this thing?
อืม
How do you kill it? You can't kill it.
ปิดยังไงเนาะ
It won't go away. Microsoft has contaminated us forever and ever. Whiteboard gallery. Stop sharing, I guess.
yeah
Window. I want to share a window. I want to share that window.
okay good
You can see Microsoft Word, right?
yep
All right, so make that big, a list. So first project is the ML project, right? Not finished. So we need to finish slides, right?
Yep.
Or start slides. I don't know where we're at there.
that's right
No, we already have slides.
Okay, so we don't have patata, we have papata. So papata works on this, okay? I'd like to get this thing done. This was supposed to be done a very long time ago, right? But it just dragged, and then all these other things came up with priority. So this is what ends up happening with project management. But I'm gonna put deadline on this thing, like, you know, we've got Songkran coming up here and other things like, you know, sort of embarrassing really to keep going back to Corey's, like, where are the results from that? Where are, like, no, sorry, you know. So like, I'll just put on there like medium, high priority, like, let's finish that thing, right? And we've got all the work done. We've got all the models saved. All we have to do is run that error analysis program really and look at the differences between the predicted and measured values across all the different wells, make a couple of maps. Like, this is also something that you might be able to import into the new program to help with some of the mapping and contouring or stuff if you want, or use some of the features in there. It's up to you if you want to do it. But we need to finish, and that can help with that as well a bit. So papata. Okay, all hands on deck to get that done. The next project is Daniel's shit, right? So I should say that, right? That's unprofessional. Daniel's was. We are like 90% complete there. Right? Something like that. Presentation. So finish in Turks, create presentation. That's gonna be Papa and we will have this as a medium low priority. Right? So target deadline for that would be like May 18 or something, right? Reason being, we're going to be well, we don't know that, but supposedly, hopefully, everything's approved and with the visa process or whatever, if we go to the US, right, we want to be able to have that done. Otherwise, Daniel is going to be, like, what the hell? And we're almost there, right? All we have to do is just create the presentation, I think, and finish the interps, right? So that's, we'll loop him in and on there too, right? So Papata to help with that. And for Tube, I guess, like, the ML project will get you up to speed on that, but just to kind of look over what we did. And the essential bit of this was that we're using machine learning logistic regression to predict logs directly without having to do any sort of petrophysics, right? We're not doing clay interpretations or mineral solver inversions for porosity and minerals and stuff. We're just going directly from the raw logs straight to porosity saturation using logistic regression, decision tree based models. The whole process of doing it, which got kind of like a little bit complicated, was we wanted to keep track of what happens if we do this with raw data. What happens if we do it with depth shifted data? What happens if we do it with depth shifted and edited data? So we're kind of classifying our data sets from the poorest quality to the highest quality, and then quantitatively comparing the results, right? Like the question that you asked the other day, what's the error tolerance, right? And stuff like that. That's what we need to compile there to be able to tell our customer, if you have time and there's no urgency, let's do the correct approach. This is how much better of an answer you get by doing all this data conditioning. If you don't have time, there's an urgent need, which is usually revolves around business development, right? Where there's something they have to do like really quickly, like buy something, like buy a company or buy land position, right? And they're like, well, shit, this is on the market. We need to know as much as we possibly can about this, like today, because tomorrow we have to make a decision. So that's where you say, okay, I'm just going to use the raw data, but now I can quantitatively tell you a little bit about uncertainty or error that you may experience in a computation, right? Because we're using raw data. So that's what we want to put together there, like a docket essentially, or a reference guide for the client to say, going forward, should you run into these different situations, here's what it looks like, here's what you're dealing with. And we got all these models saved and everything, so we could write a little program, which I still have to do yet, to utilize them, but we'll be able to blow through hundreds of wells very quickly if we need to. It shouldn't be a problem. So you can get involved in that with your machine learning background and stuff, help with some of that stuff. And then Daniel's wells thing, basically all that was a large swath of data that one of the geologists had flagged. Right, he was mapping with it, and he looked at, there was 163 wells, I think, and said, no, these 163 wells are the outliers that I've identified in my mapping. Like there's something wrong with the data in these wells. I need you to take a closer look at them. And Daniel put it on his shelf for like 3 months, and then it came over to us just recently. And there was a sense of urgency about it because we needed to have it done prior to asset reviews that the company conducts, which are usually in April. But there have been some developments, some changes at Diamondback where they pushed these asset reviews off until July now. So we have some more time to finish that, which is why I'm sort of ranking it as a medium to low priority. But, we're almost there, so we just need to get it done mean, some of these things, that's the problem, right? It's like they linger and they'll linger forever. And it makes us look bad because we never finish anything, right? You don't want to be that guy that like, starts 100 projects and finishes none. Right? We need to knock these things out, finish them, just get them done. And stop. And I'll give you an example of this. I went to go get my oil changed on my car on Sunday at Be Quick, right? Which I absolutely hate, and I will never go back to another one because it's not Be Quick, it's Be Chamaklu, right? I had to wait 3 hours for an oil change. You know how long an oil change takes in the United States? 10 to 15 minutes, right? It's not 3 times longer, not 4 times longer. It's like 12 times longer here. Now, I'm not blaming the employees at the oil change place. I'm blaming all the assholes that pulled their cars in nonstop to get air in their tires for free. That stopped the employees from doing their job. The guys are trying to work on a car. Some asswipe rolls in with a Mercedes, and they've got a hole in their tire or whatever, like fix it free. So the guy comes over, he's got to stop what he's doing. He's got to put air in the tire, right? For Mr. Mercedes. Mr. Land Rover comes in next, right? Meanwhile, the paying customer, me, I'm sitting on my hands waiting for 3 hours to get my oil changed. What I ended up having to do in the end is I had to stand out in front of the garage bay so nobody could pull in there with their car and just stare at the guy, right, to make him do his job. So I got out of there because it was 9 o'clock p.m. I had to wait until you guys had to drive the putt. Anyway, the reason I mention that is that we're sort of in the same boat, right? As a consulting shop, we start a project for a customer, and some asshole with a Mercedes rolls in and gives us another project, right? And it stops us from finishing the first one. And I don't want to be like that. It's not fair to the paying customer that started first, right? And we got to get these things done. So let's plan to just like hunker down and knock out both of these things before the end of April if we can, given the fact that we're going to have a significant interruption because of Songkran in the month. The third thing that we have to worry about is the Flying Dutchman, right? And so this thing is, let's count them. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 wells. 12 wells, out of which we only need to load 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So half of them have to be loaded. Phase 1. So, target date for this is going to be soon. It's just depth shift and edit. That's it. Okay. Phase 2 later, full conversion and turp. Okay. And that's it's like a medium to lower too, but they really need it done within 1 to 2 weeks, right?
Okay.
But it's only 12 wells, and we don't have to do everything. We just need to depth shift and edit. So this will be a Papata project as well. Then we have Pinion, right? Where's my be smaller Pinion? So this is, we don't know how many wells, right? This is only going to be probably the net interval. So like 1,000 to 1,500 feet per well, I would guess. No idea on timing, right? Could be tomorrow, could be 6 months from now. They are drilling a well. Figure out when, right? Eric already solicited help for logging program and coring program. So what will we be doing there, right? And we talked about this the other week, right? We discussed core analysis and all this different stuff that they're going to be doing. And there was an email that we sent out, I think, to Eric, and let me just find that somewhere. I'll forward that to you so that you have it. So that's coming. And then for the logging program one, I sent them an email also. That one's forwarded to you. So, you know, I don't know what he's gonna need there. He may need operational support for the logging program, in which case, you know, we have to set that up and try to monitor and watch it from afar. Because we don't have anybody to go to location, right? I'm not flying over there for that. Unless one of you want to. But you know, I think he's probably got some ops people to do that anyways, so whatever. But we need to get some more information from that bit. So, like, we need to figure out like when that's gonna happen, because I assume that he's going to want us to interpret that data also. Right? Will we need to do core plug selection? That's something else that we need to figure out, because that's a whole process in and of itself, right? And I need to kind of, if we're gonna do that, I need to get my shit together, because you know, I've got a history with this stuff where I've used, you know, Monte Carlo type of work to figure out statistical core plug selection from log data, and that's what we'll need to do here. Right? But the other problem that we're going to have with this, which is we need to kind of communicate to Eric, I guess, tomorrow. We find out more about this is careful, right? Barnett,
Yep.
Woodford, sticky, washed out, stick roadie sidewalk, core tool, lose it, fishing, big shit, right?
Mhm.
Not good. So, you know, I don't know what he's got planned, but this stuff is not as bad looking as some of the Barnett and other parts of the basin. So we just need to be careful there, right? Like you don't want to lose tools and sit there for weeks playing with that stuff. So the other thing that we need to do for Wednesday, tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Is create a presentation showcasing, highlighting data quality, the work you've already done, right? So
Yeah.
what's in the spreadsheet, plus plots. And that's going to be, I'm just looking at that meeting invite, like they've got, man, I got like so many things in my calendar here that, I'm not even getting them. I still need to issue a 1099 from Doug because taxes are like due in 2 weeks and he never got one from me. I'll write that down. Okay, make one of them. So that thing is going to be, it looks like Eric, Greg, Raphael, Thomas, which I think is their CEO, Doug, and Rand. So I'll let you guys kind of talk to most of that, and I'll help where needed. But you know, what he's doing is he's trying to put this in front of the management at the company, so that you know they can see that petrophysics is important. Okay, so goal of Eric, and I'm reading this right myself. Showcase importance of petrophysics, right? So that means our presentation should highlight why we need to do petrophysics,
Well, okay.
right? Why we need to do data conditioning.
Oh yeah.
A stupid AI thinks I need anyway. So you've already done this, right? You've presented at the SPWLA about, depth shifting and normalizing, why it's important. You now have this data set, right, that you've gone through. And, we just need to be prepared to what can we do? So if there's missing data, can we synthesize new shit? Or new stuff, new data, new curves, right? If we do, what's the costs trade-off,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Yep.
are you comfortable making missing resistivity data? I can do it. Guarantee you I can do it. But am I comfortable doing it? The answer is no. I would not advocate that, right? Yes, that's something that can happen, but making resistivity data is extremely scary, right? Especially in a
Yes.
project like this. So we don't necessarily want to go there. Can I calculate only sonic PE, no resistivity? Yes, I can. I could do the full mineral solver, right? The only thing I'm missing is the saturations. So, if I can give you porosity, is that something that you would want? Okay. And the other thing that we have to show is the completeness of the data set, right? And quality of the data set.
Yep.
So here we've got where are our poor quality? Where are the average ones? Where are the high quality calibration ones? Right?
Yep.
And that's what this meeting basically is, right? Is that we discuss these things out in the open, and then they could kind of make a decision on what they want to do with it. They just need to understand what's in that data set. So, you guys have gone through it, you can answer those questions. They say, well, how many quad combo wells do we have? How many NMRs do we have? What's the quality of this data look like? How many wells do we have that aren't washed out? How many wells do we have that are really washed out? Stuff like that. So I think, like I say, most of it's already in a spreadsheet. We can keep going back to that spreadsheet to answer the questions, but it would be nice if our slides had some pre-made visuals that, had that stuff in there already, kind of condense it and make it easy and simple for the customer to understand, right? High level stuff, just like a table summary. Here's 3 rows in the table, right? Like good quality, poor quality, calibration quality, or whatever, right? Like I've got their poor, average, and calibration quality logs. Here's what we got. How many are just garbage because they don't span the interval? They don't cover the Barnett, right? How many wells are we missing tops from, or whatever? Blah blah blah, right? Just fill that all out, and then we can make some maps as well, like that one map I showed you with the thickness of the Barnett or something. I can't remember what it was. It looked like there was a trough or something going through that area, like marking the good wells that they had, where all the production came from on that sort of system, that geologic system. And, also kind of overlaying data quality on one of those maps. So now you make a map where the dots are quad combo wells. The dots are wells that we don't have enough to do an analysis with. Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they
I
can,
already make.
yeah, that's like extremely powerful visual to be able to show them. Here's what the spatial orientation of your data is, right? Where we've got good stuff and we got garbage. And then, like I said before, we'll talk to them on how they want to proceed with this. Do they want to hire the 2 of you or something as to work for them to finish this thing, like kind of what we did with Alex and Petroflex, or do they want to do like a per well fee, like where we just charge a certain dollar amount per well, and it takes you 5 minutes to finish it, or it takes you 5 weeks to finish it, we get paid the same, right? So we have to put together, prices and stuff that make sense for that. So that'll come after this. So that's Pinion. And then we've got Ring Energy, right? So this guy, full AI comprehensive breakdown analysis of 50 plus frac simulations by end of week, right? So whatever that is, April 4th or 3rd or something, right? I think tomorrow's the 1st, 2nd. Right? Tomorrow's Wednesday. Tomorrow's Wednesday. 3rd, by the 3rd, Friday. We gotta have that done because April 6th, meeting in Midland to finalize frac plan. John's working on the DFIT sensitivity analysis. I'm working with him on that. And Tube will get you involved in that as well to get you some exposure to, pressure transient stuff on the DFIT side. I assume that you've taken well testing classes at some point, right? Yeah, probably hated it too, didn't you? A lot of differential equations stuff, right? So this won't be differential equations. This will be more of an applied analysis. But essentially what we're doing here is we'll do a sensitivity study to reservoir perm H, whatever, right? So he's looking at using a forward modeling tool, analytical solution, and IHS well test to forward model DFITs and PTA signatures, right? So we're looking at start to radial flow time and expected behavior. So the idea behind this is when we go to collect data, right, we're going to be using RDS online portal for pressures. So it won't be a problem. We'll be able to log in and watch it real time. But because we don't know what to expect, right, we could have a 0.1 millidarcy, a 1 millidarcy, or even higher, 10 millidarcy reservoir. We need to cover all the bases on the forward modeling because we need to design the DFIT, right? So total volume plus rate. And we probably should do some finite element sort of frac modeling on that as well to understand what that's going to look like. And operationally, not sure yet. I think this is going to be a toe sleeve with a disc, ceramic disc or whatever, right? So they're just going to pump on it to open that. They'll probably pump a small acid job or something, or maybe not with the DFIT, I don't think, because they're not going to load the hole with acid for sure. And they're not going to spot acid anywhere in there like a pill. So we're not going to have any acid at all. And that creates problems with near wellbore conductivity, tortuosity, and stuff like that, right? So we need to prepare for high DP with this DFIT, which is going to cause problems with the pressure data, right, and the signature, and being able to see things properly from the wellbore into the reservoir. So then after that, frac well, I don't even know, this is end of April, something like that, May, early May. So when that happens operationally, we'll need to be engaged as well and watch that data as it's coming in. So, we may need to run some additional modeling or analysis on things to understand what's going on and adjust the designs. I think, I don't even know. I won't say. I'm not sure how many stages I think they're drilling a 1 mile long lateral. But it may be longer than that. And I think. Or maybe shorter than that too. I think they're planning on 200-foot stages. I would guess maybe 15 to 20 stages on the well, something like that. So it'll be interesting. There'll be lots of data, ISIP stuff, and then obviously we have like a post-job analysis to do on that. So I don't know how much you've been exposed to sort of horizontal multi-frac analysis stuff. Have you worked that at all too? So there's some models and different things that the industry has sort of adopted. One of which is there's a guy, Nicholas Roussel, who works for ConocoPhillips, I think still. He published a paper back in like 2017 or 16. It's analytical solution to some pretty complex numerical finite element like G-mechanics stuff, where he was able to make some assumptions, right, and kind of collapse a lot of the boundary conditions on the problem and make it simple. And what we can do is use that and the stress shadowing effects between stages. So there's a lot of papers. I'll have to find these for you and send them across. But the theory is, and I think we can stop sharing that document. I'll save this thing, by the way, and drop it in the chat here. I don't know where I'm going to put it, but hold on one second. I'll just projects April 2026. The theory behind it is pretty simple, I think. Here it is. Clear canvas. Do this again. So you've got like a horizontal wellbore, right? Looks like this. So you're coming down, you go 90 degrees, you go out. Here's the toe. So you frack it, right? First stage. And before you frack that well, the stress field here is basically virgin, right? Nothing's been done to it. So in terms of displacement, right, the fracture is opening a crack in the ground and it's displacing a rock volume, right, in that direction as the fracture opens. So when it does that, it creates stress, right, that has to equilibrate from point A to point B. So when we do another stage right here, we open another fracture, right? This fracture now, when it starts to open against that direction, sees a higher stress. Okay, so that's called stress shadowing. And then there's one here, right? This is going to see a higher stress in that direction, and you just keep going down the well. Well, one of the things that we interpret is something called an ISIP, right? Instantaneous shut-in pressure off of the frac data. So as you can imagine, you've got pressure, right? Surface pressure or something. And you've got a pump rate, right? There's your pump rate. Pump rate goes to 0. You turn the pumps off. And then you get this decline in pressure, okay? The ISIP is, you kind of take this, if this is a surface pressure, right? You kind of take and help me do it in a different color. You take and you draw a line through there, right? And you kind of draw a line through there. And you say somewhere around here, that is my ISIP, my instantaneous shut-in pressure. So P&P might be wondering, well, wait a minute. What the hell are you talking about? I shut my pump down right here. this is my instantaneous shut-in pressure. That's how it's defined, instantaneous shut-in pressure. That's where it is. P&P argue with me, right? They say, Ryan, you're a moron. No ice cream for you today. Right? So what this is, right, this is friction. Because this is a surface gauge at the top of your wellhead here, right? You've got a whole bunch of pipe and you've got friction, and there's a DP between here and all the way out to that end of that well. So we're looking for a slope change. What this ISIP data does now, like if we create a plot of it, okay? So you've got a plot of stage number, and then you have ISIP here on the y-axis, okay? You're going to see something that looks like this. Maybe there might be some oscillation in the data, right? But it's basically going to fit something like this as it goes out. Now, what this Roussel guy did, and he's pretty smart for it, is he says, I'm going to create a simplified analytical model that represents what's going on here. And I'm going to make it so that I can back out valuable information from what's happening in this early time. Because it's building pressure, right? And that's telling me something about the rock material, the height and the size of the fractures, and the effectiveness of it. Sometimes you may get it where you don't see this behavior at all. It's just your ISIPs look like this, right? And that's telling you that there's no stress shadow. But Roussel's work tells us we can look at the plateau where this thing plateaus, and we can look at this parabolic shape of the stress build and how many stages it takes to do that and what the magnitude of it is, how many PSI. And between all of these things, we can tell a lot of information about what's going on in the reservoir, geometry of the fractures and other things, right? So we'll want to do this on this data set, to look at all this information, analyze it, because we'll have the data, right? And it'll help them, because this well that they're drilling and fracking, it's not a one-off. This is the first well. And if it's successful and we can understand it, they're going to drill many more in the future. So all or any of the data that we collect, we need to really do as much as we can with it, right? Analyze the shit out of it, if you will. So that's what we'll do. So again, good stuff, right? Like as a petroleum engineer, these are all the sorts of things that they told you about in school, maybe, that you get to actually play with, right? And then other than that, I think that's about it on my end. So I will turn the microphone over to whoever it is that wants to ask any questions.
Not really a question for this specific discussion, but yeah, this today is supposedly my last day today here. So yeah, I think there was a one thing that we want to go over, kind of a file, storage and organization, especially when things are all over the place in chat. Maybe we can have a quick look at the, maybe like a share folder, if you want to spend time talking about that.
Yeah, well, I think we probably need to just do what we did for the admin folder thing and just
Yeah.
create a garbage dump or whatever. We can organize it later, right? We could put subfolders with,
Yeah.
papers and PowerPoints, because that's the other thing that we need to do as well, is start to document some of the presentations and things for the different
Yes.
projects. I've done a fairly poor job of doing that.
Yeah. should we like Nong Tu welcome again here? But yeah, I think we're gonna be talking to a few historical parts. You are welcome to stay, but I think we can also take care of this without having like to bore you. I think that is a possibility.
Well, it's not only that, but he's already started some work.
Yeah, so he
We're-
should
we're-
see. Yeah,
Well, we've got, so he's gone through and collected all the data from about 50 different frac simulations, and we need to put that somewhere so that
Somewhere.
everybody can get to it. So that
Yeah.
kind of rolls into this whole thing.
yeah. Let me share screen quickly. One moment.
If you can, just go ahead and do a working session and create a new folder that we have access to, that we could do the same thing we did with the admin thing. I don't know how you did that.
Yeah. You mean like you want me to take care of this directly with Nong, like PP and T without you in there, or you want to see it too? I can show quickly.
Yeah, I'll just hang around here, right? But like what I'm
Perfect.
saying is create a another folder, whatever this thing was that we did for the admin thing. Like I've got it in my Windows Explorer tree, right? It's called PetroRes Consulting Admin. Just create
Yeah.
another one that's called PetroRes Consulting like data repository or whatever. And then everybody can get a link to it. It shows up in their computer and we can just go in there and dump Excel sheets and files or whatever.
Okay. Let me quickly show this. So everyone see my screen. Is it like big enough, blurry, or you can see?น้องๆเห็นไหม
Yeah,
คะ
yeah. ห็น
Okay. So right now I am in, like, if you go to home, this is like kind of all the thing we're talking about, right? My Fires thing that is directly for me. Share is stuff that people share across the organization. There's something called Petroles Consulting here on quick access. So if you go here, there are like typically file we use right now is in general. And as Ryan mentioned, we have something called admin, right? If I go in here, like Nong will not have access. You will just see kind of like top line thing here, but let's not worry about that. Like let's worry here about general and technical paper. So Ryan, I think the both of this folder you create, I was really trying to consolidate in one place. When I moved technical paper in general, it just not let me do it. It bumped itself out. So this one is an outlier right now. So in technical paper, there are stuff we have from multiple event, right? Like you can start putting event that like, so I think Aberdeen, for example, it was only abstract. We decided to not go. In 2025, you guys went to Malaysia. There was, I think this is like a day note that you made,น้องand we have like a submitted abstract. So per event, you can like, I think this is depend on how we want to organize, but currently all the conference / technical paper, I group it in this folder. The rest of general, I was looking like there was an intern project that, okay, so this is when you guys start. This one was internship share project when we share information with you, and then you guys also have personal folder that you drop file or work that you put in there. There's something confusing here when I drop project here. It seems to be duplicate. I will go back and clean this, so it should only be one. So for Nong Tu, perhaps we can also have 2026 PE internship or something in that nature. You can share, like when company share file to you, you can organize to put things here, and then it will be really organized, not just in your drive, but in company drive. So Ryan and Nong, Ploy and Pon can also see it. Don't worry about this. I think there was some confusion when I dropped things via my directory and also in online things somehow copy incorrectly. External project, this one is mostly like this is only the contribution that I was kind of like working with, right? Nong now have so many external projects. If you want to put them here, then it's easy and in one place. I heard so many names today, like Pinion and others. I think if you start putting things in this folder, you should be able to organize it much better. And in our team, it will not be random file anymore. It should be a link to a file store in such folder. And I highly recommend, one moment, like right now, it's so many things in here that it's not organized. So I would go in here, store a thing that you want to keep and put them in the right folder. And then after that, maybe we can start fresh with a group that has like very specific topic of discussion. Okay, this is going to be like petrophysics project in that, PE project discussion in another, and make sure get into a habit of not just dropping a file. You have a file store in the right folder and then share a link to that file in team. Then you will be organized from like day one of sharing information. Okay. So marketing, I think at that time we only have the espresso article, but in the future, brochure, things that related to company, branding can come here. Recruiting, so we have Congan event. In the future, when you go to our next place, you can have like a starting point here, but each recruiting have different purpose, right? So it can go in such area. What is this? Software development. We have, okay. This could be a future project. I think this one was just automation comparison, but yeah, like a placeholder for you to put things in here. Team miscellaneous. This is leave tracker. Yeah, I put things that basically on my personal drive into a general and try to create group of relevant topics. So น้องๆ I encourage you to look inside your personal folder, look into our team chat, and if you can like kind of put things into here as a good starting point and maintain this going forward, should be very helpful. Okay. Yeah. Ryan, is it okay to put in general, or you want to like if you split this out, it would be
Well-
quite a lot of folder.
Yeah, I think we could just put everything in general that we're gonna save, like out of the, well,
In a
we can put
team.
the, yeah, like the technical papers stuff goes in technical papers, right? Under general, we could even create another folder, I guess, that's, you know, projects or whatever for the,
Yeah. So right now there are like internship project and external projects.
oh,
I-
no, I mean like, you know, projects like is in the thing we're gonna do for Pinion or whatever, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I-
yeah. So for example, you can do here and then you can do Pinion.
Well, I
And
think
then-
we, yeah, I think it'd be better though if it wasn't buried so deeply, right? Because it's something that you're gonna be looking at all the time. When you're working it, so it'd be better to have like a projects folder right off of the documents.
Yeah. Actually, it will become unmanageable. It will be so big and so long. Like here you can I think pin them or star them or something.
Well, yeah,
Um,
that's what I'm trying to figure out is how you get the things inside of Microsoft Explorer's
here.
shell, right, the
So-
window. You
Yeah.
can click on them and you can mount them or whatever, but how
Right.
do you do that for an embedded folder, right? That's the thing.
Yeah, let me show. So here, right, general, you can still see my screen, right? Oops. Back
You do
here, it's
add
in a,
shortcut to OneDrive.
yeah, so right here, external project, if I have Pinion here, I can, like this is Mac, right? But you can like put it right here, kind of like, outside, but I think from team specifically, you can say like create shortcut or something, right? Like, oh, here, one moment. I know internal, no, external project, Pinion, and then you can do, like if you go favorite, it will show up
See,
here.
Like, see, I added the admin one and now it's telling me that I am not allowed to add another one. It's saying that I have to remove the admin one if I want to add the general one.
What do you mean, like outside of general?
It's not letting me add the general shortcut. It's saying that I need to remove the admin folder if I want to add the general thing.
Oh, wow.
So I don't, it says I have to stop syncing it and all this stuff. I don't know what's going on. And so I had problems with this before, which is why I never used it. But we kind of sort of need to use it now. It's the right thing to do. but. Yeah, let me try again. You go in here and you say,
Let me
add
try
shortcut to OneDrive, right? Add shortcut to OneDrive, it says shortcut in this folder, blah, blah, blah. It won't add it though, and it gives me an error in my
Mhm.
Microsoft OneDrive. Anyway,
Okay. Yeah, and I see now to Nong Troop, I think you have a new folder here, which is good. Like you were able to put it outside. If you want to put it in your, let's say, let me try to generate your, this is
but now it's
20
working. Now it's working. I got it now.
soft, you have PE internship, right? Internship. Okay. And let's see if we can link that or move that to your folder. Then it will like, if we are like strictly follow this, it will be more manageable. So move to, right? I am moving this to general and then move to internship project. Move to
Well,
PE.
no, it's not an internship project. This would go to the external Ring Energy frac project, right?
Sure. So I am going to change that. It's called Ring Energy.
Ring
External
Energy is the company.
project. Okay. Order here, Ring Energy. So now, yeah. So here, you want to move again, move to general, external, Ring Energy, move here. So your kind of permanent location for this project is in Ring, right? But if you want to also know what are all the projects you work on, not just like you should feed to a real customer project. But one trick I think would be very helpful for you is to create shortcut, add shortcut. No, not that. One moment. Not copy to share, okay? No. Like I'm looking, like there should be a way to also add shortcut to this link and save in your intern project. So if you work for Ring Energy, you work for Pinion, you work for all of those. If you can shortcut it to your own like internship folder, you will see like all the projects